From East Point to Charlotte, y'all better know that.
Neo 420 Talks, the podcast, talking all things cannabis and some other things.
I am in a complete accord with anybody that says that there does not need to be any substance abuse during your job day. I'm completely cool with anybody saying that substance abuse should not be used while you're driving a motor vehicle. I'm completely fine with someone saying that substance abuse should not be allowed for people that are mentally challenged. Now, that needs to be very defined. But in any of those, we're saying to do it just the same as the legal alcohol industry, right? Like if it's available in stores, we have adults that consume it, we have adults that can purchase it, and inevitably there's going to be, I'm going to rat out, I'm not going to tell exactly who it was, but back in the day, before I was 21 years old, there was people that would supply me with alcohol and my friends if we were partying. But, there's inevitably someone that's going to supply, cannabis to the wrong person at the wrong time, and that's what the media is going to latch on to, and that's what the government is going to, put a spotlight on in order to showcase why it shouldn't be done, but they're not going to show the attention to the epileptic kid or the epileptic adult that is taking medicine and being able to get treated. And that's what us as a citizenry, I think, personally, that's what we need to spotlight. Is let's not look at the one-off bad instances. Let's look at the thousands of positive benefits that have been created, including your own, with transitioning off, including mine, including hundreds and hundreds of other people that we know individually. But so let's look at service member side. What do you think a lot of servicemen. What do you think should be allowed for them to be able to have access to for treatment? Do you think cannabis should be allowed for veterans?
Yeah. It's for retired veterans, is that what you're saying, or for service members in general?
Probably not active. Yeah, probably not active members, but possibly if they're not on tour,
Right. It's funny because when you're in the military and you get out of the field for a week or a month like that, and it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, you can go to the PX and buy alcohol. There's no time that they cut it off and say it's past 2 o'clock.
Oh, it's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours.
Damn.
And you could buy as much alcohol as you want. Doesn't matter. And and people are going back and they're taking the alcohol stress with from the military or being in the field. The military is stressful anyway.
Absolutely.
It's stressful anyway, and you got 18-year-old kids that are turning to alcohol early, and I don't think they really want to do it. It's just, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And if there was boy, it'd be great getting out of the field and saying I'm going home to smoke a bowl, at the end of the day. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome,
Yeah.
It would be.
I can imagine. I mean, seeing the stresses that come along with military service. I mean, I appreciate and love all of our veterans from every generation, from every situation. And I really appreciate it. But yeah, we've got to make these situations like you mentioned about managing PTSD and managing stresses when you're in and out of the military. And that's something that we should focus on, is to how do we minimize stress for our servicemen? I mean, we talk about how much we're going to put on their back, and I think we're still in, at some kind of conflict in over 100 countries. So there's a need for a lot of servicemen. How do we minimize the stress to our servicemen? Like, how do we do that? It should be done from the high ups as far as planning, from the Pentagon or from wherever else. But we should minimize stress for our servicemen that are in service and when they get out. What do you think about that?
I think Snoop Dogg should be the president. That would help.
It definitely would. It definitely would. I think we would get completely out of war.
That's
We would
right.
start growing a ton of cannabis. And I know that he would probably be the one that rolls everybody's joints, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he'd probably be there with us. you
Right.
know. But, yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot of good points that you mentioned. What do you see going on right now, like in Oregon? I know you've been a resident. You're back here now. What are you seeing right now as far as part of the? I know that there's been a couple of veterans groups that have developed here, and are you seeing a lot of participation with? You mentioned veterans that are using.
Yes.
Are you seeing people that are really, really speaking up about their use?
I don't think they speak up about it. I think it's just, this is what I do. I don't need to brag about it or anything like that, or
Right.
let anyone know. It's just yeah. I have talked to veterans who are growing their own now, and and that's the other thing is about growing your own.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
not going to the getting your prescriptions filled anymore. You know,
you just got to go to your garage. And
go
pick
to your
what
garage
you
and
pick.
and it becomes a meaning and a purpose.
For sure.
A little part in a veteran's life that they get to take care of this baby, this plant. And so there's a lot of aspects of seeing, but I think a lot of veterans are turning toward marijuana.
That's very interesting. The reason for that awkward laugh that I had a moment ago was that I was thinking when you said it would be so great to have the ability to smoke a bowl like after you get off of duty, and I was thinking to myself, I bet everyone would come to your house. But then I thought, like, the traditional way to manage stress is like the aspirin. And I doubt if you were to, like, get out the aspirins and start to take one that you would be the life of the party.
Yeah. Well,
like, not everybody's come to your place because you've got aspirin.
That's right. I got Motrin, you guys. I got 100 bottles.
We're getting ready to go in.
Right. Yeah.
It's just one of those things, we have seen unbelievable crossover of relationship building with cannabis. And I can only imagine, even, I have not been in the field. I don't know what that's like. But even the thought of if you're in, say, Afghanistan, where the amazing land race of Afghani Kush was developed. Like, how about if you had a bag of weed over there and, like, you're smoking it and one of the locals, comes over and, like, y'all build a relationship based off of sharing of the cannabis. Like, they've already shared with us. They shared the land race, the actual genetics that are world renowned at this point. And so much could be given back. There's just so much that can be done. What else is going on in life right now for you, as far as in relation to cannabis? Do you have interest in working in that field, or do you have interest in pursuing anything that's of advocacy for cannabis?
Well, yeah, I've always wanted to get on board with other veterans and to help other veterans even try out CBD. I see a lot of them that the VA cut off all opiates. Yes. I don't know. Maybe I'm stoned. And they started giving these machines called TENS, and it's electrical to help your mind develop that there's no pain there.
Shock therapy?
It's kind of like a shock therapy, and it's you got to put it on really low, but you put it on for like 10 or 15 minutes, and you put on there's patches, and then you turn on, and it's electrical shocking. Yeah, so that's what they've done. But I saw a lot of veterans that were given pain pills and stuff like that, and then they're just cut off. And the VA doesn't do anything about it. Doesn't say, gives you Motrin and say, here, take these. I there was one time that I went to get a checkup, and the nurse was going through the questions. Do you drink? Do you smoke? And I said, well, I smoke cannabis for the pain. And she goes, well, that's fine with me because I'd rather have you do that than take this Motrin every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it
Wow.
was like, that was like, I was just going, wow, here's a medical professional saying, we're okay with that. And now that I talk to the doctors, they're fine with it too. They're not worried about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the consensus across the medical field right now. Like, doctors are very concerned with their license as far as getting behind it and just prescribing it.
Right.
But they will not keep you from doing it. That's an interesting kind of conundrum that we're in the thralls of right now. It's like this crossroads with the medical industry. Medical professionals can't risk their professional license, but at the same time, they're not going to like rat you out to anybody.
Right.
So it's a very interesting time right now, especially with cannabis. We're at, I believe it's 30 states now that have either medical or recreational allowance for cannabis of some way, shape, or form. So we should be excited because we're over half of the majority of the states within our country of the United States have programs in place. And this year, this annual year of 2018, there are several states that have it on a potential ballot. So we're excited to see where that goes. Anything else, Paul, that you would like to share with us before we start to wrap this up?
Not that I know of. I'm sure I'll think of things after this interview is over.
Well, hey,
maybe we'll do a second one once.
We
once
definitely
we do that.
will. We definitely will. I enjoy talking with you. You bring a very interesting perspective, and the next time we talk, if possible, I would love to hear more about your personal experience and some more about veterans, because, as I said, we all just have a big heart for the veterans that sacrifice so much for us, that we owe this back to get them into a position of a lot less stress. So I look forward to having you back. Anytime you let me know and we'll do it.
Yes, and pain free too. With the cannabis, the CBD helps with the pain too. So
Right.
And that causes stress too. But there's a lot of benefits from cannabis, and we need to let that go and let people try it.
That'll be our conclusion, because that's the best statement that has been said yet. Thanks again, Paul, for all of your time. Thanks, audience, for listening again to another interview podcast from Neo 420 Talks. We look forward to talking to you again very soon. And always, friends, keep medicated.
Hoo-yah.
From East Point to Shaolin, y'all better know that.
Neo 420 Talks, the podcast talking all things cannabis and some other things.